Turn to the second page of your handout. Let's focus on problems 5 through 8. You will be working on these problems independently. So take a moment to read through each question and answer it to the best of your ability. Give yourself 1 minute to read through the problems and unpause the video so that we can share our answers together. So number 5 is asking us what quadrant the pre-image is located in. So we know our pre-image is the figure that has the variables for each vertex, A, B, and C, without the primes. So in this case, our pre-image is in the first quadrant. So we use Roman numerals to give the name of each quadrant. So the capital I stands for quadrant 1. So in case anyone forgot, this is quadrant 1, and if we move in a, what's happening with my pen? If we move in a counterclockwise rotation, so if you're creating the letter C, this would be the second quadrant, this would be the third, and this would be the fourth. So our pre-image is in quadrant 1. And our image, after we perform the transformation, is in quadrant number 4, right down here. What type of transformation is illustrated? So far we've learned reflections, translations, and rotations today. So a translation, remember, is when you pick up an image and you either slide it to the left or to the right and go up or down. So in a translation, every single angle of our shape is facing in the same direction. So A would still be facing down, B would be all the way at the top, and C would be all the way on the right. Since that's not the case with our image, we know it cannot be a translation. A reflection is when an image flips over to the opposite side. So if we were reflecting over the x-axis, then B would be 9 units away from the x-axis, and that's not where we have B. So we know it can't be a reflection. Since all of our vertices, each of these corners here, have turned to get this new image, we know that it has to be a rotation. And finally, number 8, is the size of the figure preserved in the transformation? So this is just asking, did the size stay exactly the same even though its location changed? And the answer is yes. And remember, the word that says that the size and the shape of an image is exactly the same is congruent. Right, this word congruent means that everything about the shape stayed exactly the same. It didn't change in any way except for its orientation, which means it's just facing a different position. Take 2 minutes to read through examples 9 through 12 and answer them to the best of your ability. When you unpause the video, we can share our answers together. So unlike number 7, which was strictly just asking what type of transformation is illustrated, number 9 wants us to be more specific. Describe the transformation shown in the graph. So, we know it's a rotation. We already said that we are turning this image. We said that we are turning this image, but now we need to describe, are we turning clockwise, going to the right, or are we turning counterclockwise? But remember that we can explain it going both directions. So we can either say that we are taking triangle ABC and rotating 90 degrees to the right, which is 90 degrees clockwise, or we can say that we are turning the image 3 quadrants to the left, so we are turning it 270 degrees counterclockwise. each of these rotations will create triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. Take a second to check your answers for number 10 and number 11. So when we carefully identify the points here, to answer number 12, let's look at some type of relationship between A and A prime, B and B prime, and C prime. What do you notice happens to each X and Y variable? So instead of having to locate every point on the graph for number 11 for our new image, can you come up with some type of rule as to what to do with each X and each Y for your coordinates? So if you notice, to get from A to A prime, we've taken the opposite of our X value, since it's a -3 now, and we've switched the position of X and Y. So for number 12, we notice that we are negating, that's not right, we are negating the X value, so you're taking the opposite of whatever that sign is, and you're switching X and Y. So we switch X and Y. So if we were to look at the coordinate rule here, essentially what you have is every XY coordinate now turns to our first value, or the new X is really what Y was, and our new Y is the opposite of whatever X was. So you're switching your X and Y, and you're taking the opposite sign for the X value. You'll discover more of these rules as you work through the handout for today. So really focus on what happens to each coordinate of the pre-image and of the image that you're studying. And make sure that you are describing your rotations both clockwise and counterclockwise, since we can turn to the left and to the right. The last 2 pages of your class handout will be for homework, and we will be sharing out problem number 18 through 23. So be ready to share your answers. See you next time, or you'll hear me next time. Bye, 8th grade.